Good evening, everyone. Today, January 30th, is Martyrs' Day or Shaheed Divas. This is the day when we lost our Apostle of Peace and Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, in 1948. Since then, the day is celebrated in the honor of our martyrs who laid their lives for the country. And we have with us today for this session, we have with us author, academician, and a Gandhian, Mrs. Santosh Bakaya. Hello, ma'am. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thank you so much. Nice
Okay.
to see
So today, our conversation for the day will obviously be based on Gandhiji and his work. Also, in what ways he was similar to civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. So, and ma'am will also read some passages from her book. She has written these two books. First is Ballad of Bapu. It is one of its own kind of work where she has described Mr. Gandhi's life in poems. And the other one is Martin Luther King Jr.'s biography, which whose title is Only in Darkness Can You See the Stars. It is obviously from his famous speech, I Have a Dream, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So ma'am, yes, the first so let's begin with how did you come up with the idea of these two books? First of all, the Ballad of Bapu, and why is it based on, why does it have only poems?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so
Yes.
much. That's a wonderful question. And I have been answering this question so many
Since
times.
morning? Oh, I was going to say since morning, since
5 years.
oh my god, for 5 years, yes.
The Ballad of Bapu was the result of a remark of one of my students in my MPhil class. He prided himself on being a poet. And
Okay.
one day I was teaching them something about Gandhi. He suddenly got up and said, Madam, Gandhi ke din lag gaye. And the way he took his name and the way, and he used a particular adjective, which I'll not use here, but that, raised my hackles and I left the class in a huff, he said. And then he came running after me saying, Madam, गांधी तो हमने बहुत पढ़ लिया लेकिन आप एक महाकाव्य लिखें आप महाकाव्य लिखें तब मैं पढ़ूंगा गांधी मैंने वैसे अभी पढ़ा नहीं है so this was the trigger and because I used to write limericks I was very fond of writing limericks so got home and mulled over the possibility of writing a biography of Gandhi in this scheme. To give you there was a kid who kept all his cash in a he
Ma'am, there's some problem with your network, I think, because your picture has frozen, your screen has frozen, and we can't hear you. Hello? Hello? Just a sec. Do we need to start it again? Hello? Aman sir?
and the pictures have been they embellished the book like anything and this was possible because of Papri Sri Raman's indefatigable work over the book impeccable editing impeccable work so this the remark of those
We lost, ma'am. We lost Miss Bakaya. Just a sec. We'll have to wait for a few minutes. Since we have lost Miss Bakaya, we'll try to reconnect with her again. We'll try to reconnect with her. Meanwhile, I'd like to read something from her Ballad of Bapu. It's a Vitasta publication book. As she was saying that she got inspired, not actually inspired, a boy and his rudeness and the things that he had to say about Mr. Gandhi were kind of pushed her to publish this book, to write this book in form of limericks. So I'm going to read something from the author's note. She writes that it was the month of February 2005. Yes. Hi. Hello, ma'am. I was going to complete your story from this book.
Okay.
Shall we start it again? Like you were telling us that how did you come up with this book, Ballad of Bapu?
Because I was very fond of writing limericks, and
Yes.
I would write a limerick or so, and they were funny. But a limerick is meant to lampoon people. But this was these limericks that I wrote. They were not meant to lampoon Mahatma Gandhi, but they were meant to popularize him to the youth, because the youth did not know anything about Gandhi. They hadn't read anything about Gandhi, and they would say, "Madam Gandhi ko kya padna sab jante hain," and they did not know anything. So, because of this student, this so-called kavi, he called himself a kavi. Madam, मैं तो कवि हूँ, आप एक महाकाव्य लिखें. These were his exact words. So that got me thinking, and I went home straight away and I started writing limericks on Mahatma Gandhi. And but at that moment, I did not know that this would become such a huge book. But I I continued writing. I got hooked onto it, and this book happened. And let me add here that Renu called Verma. She was after me to finish it. In fact, she came to know.
I think we lost her again. Amin sir, please check. So there's another book on Martin Luther King Jr. Here on the first page, she has taken a poem by William Blake. The title of the poem is The Little Black Boy. Wherein the boy, he says that my mother bore me in the southern wild, and I am black, but oh, my soul is white.
Something connection. It's very, very erratic. I don't know what happened earlier to something the connection. So I was talking about Renu Kaul Verma. She was after me to complete the book, and I still remember it. I was in a seminar, and I received this call from Renu Kaul Verma asking me, "What about the book?" I had, I have this knack of writing working on 6 manuscripts simultaneously. So I had forgotten about it. That was at the back burner. Writing something else. So then she pulled the trigger, and I started writing, and I completed it. So this is how it happened, and that was the trigger. Was the boy in my MPhil class who said, "Gandhi ji ke din lad gaye, aap ek mahakavya likhiye." So that is how it happened.
How's that guy doing today? How's that guy doing today?
And then the first copy of that book I presented to that guy. He was, and now let me tell you that he's a lecturer. He teaches Gandhian studies, and he's a diehard fan of Gandhi. And he has been trying to translate it into Hindi, but so far he has not managed. He could complete only a few chapters, but he's still working on it. So
we would definitely like to have the Hindi version of this book. Yes, it will cater to many youth, right?
Yeah.
And now Yes, ma'am, you say.
My a cousin of mine also tried to translate it into Hindi, but he couldn't complete it. So many people, I have been receiving offers from many people. They want to translate it into Gujarati, Marathi, Hindi, but nothing has materialized so far. And this
Right.
book is very close to my heart.
It seems so, ma'am. And what about your second book, the one on Martin Luther King Jr.? And what are the similarities? You have often spoken about both of them, Gandhi and and King Jr., that they both were a similar kind of person.
Yeah, yeah.
So please tell us about that.
Martin Luther King was only 19 when
Right.
Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated,
That.
but he was
Yes.
very inspired, very, very influenced by Gandhi when he was studying in this seminary. And one of his professors, not one of his professors, the professor from Howard University, Mordecai Johnson, he had been to
Okay.
India. He had come across Gandhi and Gandhi teachings and all. So when he came back to the States, he gave a lecture on Gandhi, and King happened to be there. He was so fascinated by this idea of non-violence, of Gandhi and all. So he went to the market and bought about 6 or 7 books on Gandhi, and he became a fan of Gandhi. That was the beginning. And then later on, when this Montgomery bus boycott, where Rosa Parks refused to vacate a seat for a white man, it sparked a revolution of sorts, a boycott. These buses were boycotted by the blacks. So that was the beginning, and it was this boycott was supposed to be only for one day, and it continued for 1 year.
Yes.
And during this time, there used to be many articles in newspapers where they continuously reiterated the fact that this Montgomery bus boycott was influenced by the man Gandhi from India.
Gandhi. Okay.
That was the
Oh.
beginning.
And just as we are speaking on Gandhi and celebrating Martyrs' Day, I read today that a statue of his has been vandalized in US. So there has been very polarization at a time like this. So what do you think? How important is this idea of peace and non-violence in the 21st century, especially when people are staging protest, and yes, that's basically the point. That's basically the question. That how important is this idea of his at this point?
And peace can never go out of fashion. They can never be irrelevant. They'll always be there. कितने भी स्टैच्यूज उनकी आप जला दें, काट दें, कुछ, लेकिन वो गांधी जी हमेशा, because he stood for non-violence, he stood for peace, and he stood for forgiveness, he stood for truth, and they can never go out of fashion. Whatever the naysayers say, whatever the flipper exhibits say, Gandhi will live forever. So will his ideology of love and non-violence. This is what I firmly believe, and this is what I'm firmly convinced to, because I have seen people changing right before my eyes. The youth that I have addressed, they have changed right before my eyes. This, especially the student, he has written many articles on Gandhi in Hindi, and he says that Gandhi jaisa insaan koi ho hi nahi sakta. So this is how people change if they read and if they're so involved. And he's also trying to change his the mindset of the students, because in the present scenario where violence has become the watchword of society, we need a man like Gandhi, we need a man like King. And I remember one line of Martin Luther King Jr., who had said, over the bleached bones and jumbled remains of civilizations are written the words too late, too late. Why wait for it to be too late? Why not begin now? The time is now to begin on a clean slate and think of peace and non-violence, because we cannot do without peace and non-violence in the present sad scenario. We'll need them all.
And speaking of the criticism of Mahatma Gandhi and King Jr., there are many points. One of them, the one that is circulated the most, is their relationship with women. That's what they are criticized for. Although here we are talking about his idea of peace and non-violence, yet Gandhi and his counterparts or others, they are criticized on their personal lives, like they had too many relationship with women. And what do you have to say about that? The criticism, basically.
Let me reiterate again, because this is what I keep telling everyone. Gandhi was a pure soul. He was a pure soul, a pure pristine soul. And he did not have to hide anything from people. He was an open book. And whatever we know about him is through his writings. He was an open book. And whatever we know about his experiments is through his books, through his writings. So this should not make us forget his legacy of nonviolence. Whatever he did, he was above all that. He was above all that. He was not just those experiments that he was conducting. And as he said many a time, that he was evolving. He was evolving every day. He was learning through his mistakes. So let us not put these people, these icons, these moral icons on pedestals. Let us look at them as the people. They, if you remember, Gandhi was, as a child, he was afraid of snakes. He was afraid of ghosts. He was afraid of multiplication tables. But that frail figure with a very unimpressive voice, he was able to rise above all that and become a moral icon. So we should remember that. And because we are addressing the youth, this is what the youth should know, that this moral icon rose above all those flaws, idiosyncrasies, and whims to become a moral colossus. And similar with Martin Luther King Jr. And there have been many recordings and tapes regarding his so-called whatever, his relations with women. But there are rumors and innuendos also. So we should keep that apart from the legacy that they have left behind, these moral icons they have left behind. So this is what I would like. We should remember.
And yes, speaking of, sorry, ma'am, we cannot hear you. Can you repeat it again? The last sentence that you just said.
And besides that, there have been rumors and innuendos and mudslinging and allegations. So we should try to look at these people, because they are moral icons. We should look at these people as great moral icons who left behind a great legacy of peace and nonviolence. And they were human beings. They were human beings who became great through their ideology of nonviolence and peace.
Yes, the main point is that since they were human, they did have their flaws, right? And we should look at the positive side of that, not at their.
I feel very embarrassed. I feel very embarrassed. Don't call me a Mahatma, but we call him a Mahatma, and we put him on a pedestal. But we should remember that everyone has frailties, flaws, idiosyncrasies, whims. So we should not forget the legacy. I keep maintaining this. We should not forget the legacy that they left behind, especially for the youngsters.
Right. True. And how do we persuade our youngsters to read and learn a little more about him and his style of, dealing with difficult situations and things?
Well, Gandhi himself used to say that he is evolving every day. He's learning every day, and he was a great man, such a humble man, such an honest man, such a frank man. And I have conducted many workshops. I have spoken on many a forum, and I have recently, 2 years back, I had gone to Hyderabad, and there was an interactive session there, and we conducted many skits on Gandhi, and they learned quite a lot from those skits, from his life. And one of the students, later on after the workshop, he came up to me and said, "Madam, we did not know all this, and because of these skits, we'll always remember what he stood for." So if these workshops are conducted, if these skits, role-playing and everything are conducted for the students, they'll learn quite a lot. And this I consider a great achievement of mine, because through this book, I have changed many a mindset of many a student who did not believe in Gandhi. So,
and would you like to read something from your book?
Yes, of course, because allow me to read from the last chapter, the last day, Mahatma Gandhi's last day.
Okay. His last day.
So he was getting late for his prayer meeting. He was getting late for his prayer meeting, and he was getting very cranky. So I'll just read from that. Unpunctuality, he could never brook. His rosary, spittoon, spectacles, and notebook, with a spurt of vigor, Manu, picked up this wealth meager, and to the ground a shortcut they took. Followed by two congressmen from Kathiawar, who wanted a few minutes with the star, in a mood worried, to the ground he hurried, smilingly folded his hands in a namaskar. Fuming at the unprecedented delay, for which his walking sticks he tried to flay, lovingly he talked, briskly he walked, unaware that he walked to his death that day. Lifting his hands and joining them in a salutation, he apologized for the delay in consternation. Unseen by him, a man edged forward. Was he a madman or a coward? He whipped out a pistol with no compunction. 3 shots he fired in quick succession. Dumbfounded was the prayer congregation. In horror they gaped. This time Gandhi had not escaped. There were roars of grief and lingering confusion. With Hey Ram on his lips, the Titan fell. On the grass he lay. Everything was pell-mell. With the bullet heard, his spectacles fell to the earth. His sandals slipped. Things were unwell. And let me flick a couple of pages and come to this. Okay. The light has gone from Asia. The light has gone from Asia, Nehru wept. The hearts of people to their mouths leapt. Was the Mahatma no more? Had he really fallen a victim to gore? People of all communities felt lost and bereft. The lover of the cross had himself been crucified. The people of his country lamented and sighed. Filled with consternation and a tumultuous passion, a bundle of bones so fearlessly had died. Just one. Yeah. Of humility and truthfulness, a peculiar combination. To Pearless Buck, this was another crucifixion of a man so rare, so just and fair, who had rocked the world with his moral perception. His heart had stopped, his voice was stilled. Into many a heart of fire he had instilled. His adversaries were mighty, but this man of piety, with a solitary perseverance, the earth had tilled. King of England, Archbishop of Canterbury, mourned the loss of an impoverished country. Chiang Kai-shek and President Truman rued the death of so fine a man, nations shocked by this loss extraordinary. The Dalai Lama of Tibet, the President of France, dignitaries world over were in a trance. In times of utter moral decadence, this man of non-violence had towered over pygmies, commanding reverence. Thank you so much. So this last
It's been written beautifully. Yes, I could picturize it all actually when you were reading it. Would you also like to tell us, share some little known or lesser known anecdotes from his life that you have mentioned in your book?
You want me to read this out?
Anything which is lesser known, which not that popular in the public domain.
I think Gandhi was an open book. Everything was open about him.
Kinda. It could be negative as well. It could be negative as well because we are open to both the points.
So let me recite from his when he was traveling, young and unsure, when he did not know how to use a fork and spoon, so he was getting very jittery and nervous. So I would like to recite from that. So
Sure.
told me that this is sort of written in a humorous vein. So people like that, and they keep quoting this when he was traveling. In unfamiliar ambience, he was trapped at sea, in a cocoon of silence, sailing perpetually. Its surreal quality filled him with perplexity. The boy had no choice but right there to be. Mustering courage, with the English he drank tea, who wondered who this person could be. Some made the demand, put a fork in his hand. When coaxed into eating meat, he wanted to flee. With nervousness, Mohan's skin tingled. Of this voyage, the teenager hardly mingled. Bogged down by taciturnity, he lost every opportunity to talk to those people Majumdar singled. Majumdar asked him to be talkative and bold. In environment formidable, his blood ran cold. like a vulnerable kid in the cabin he hid, not daring to do what by Majumdar he was told. So he was a very shy, taciturn boy, and later on he couldn't speak. He would stammer, and later on, yeah, he would stammer and he couldn't speak in front of people. But later on, he became a good speaker and he started speaking. Repelled by the non-vegetarian food that some ate, he felt homesick and his misery was great. But filled with gratitude when a problem of great magnitude was solved by Majumdar, his amiable shipmate. He charmed an attendant into cooking Indian food. This was no fad or whimsical turn of mood. Mohan felt he would smother if he betrayed his mother, and the potence would definitely be skewed. Frantically throbbed his heart at this voyage maiden. After a few days, the ship anchored at Aden. By Majumdar accompanied, he did not feel weak need, touring for an hour in a carriage lightly laden. Awestruck by many a resplendent sight, the Suez Canal overwhelmed him with delight. Fascinated by the visual treat, but tortured by the heat, dashing to the top for a whiff of air in the night. So this is what I wanted to read out to you, and his metamorphosis from a gangly youth, a very diffident youth, to a moral icon. So my plea to all the youngsters is that they should go through this book, because it is also filled with many interesting snippets and some humorous aspects also. And right now, because I have been busy since morning, I'm pretty tired today. 4, 5, in fact, 6.
I we totally understand it, ma'am. Just I'm looking for some questions if we have it in the comment section. Although I'm unable to find one. So yes, we can conclude this session on this note that we should all, even if we don't respect Gandhi or pay him reverence or make him stand on a pedestal as high as God, but we can at least try to learn and understand his point of view. That's what we can do.
This is what I keep telling my students. गांधी को आप क्रिटिसाइज करें, लेकिन गांधी को पढ़ें तो पहले. गांधी के बारे में जानकारी होनी चाहिए, तभी तो आप उनको क्रिटिसाइज करेंगे. उनको आप derogatory adjectives use कर लेते हैं. That is not good. That is not done.
It's not good for anyone, right? किसी के लिए भी इस्तेमाल करना सही नहीं है. जी. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
It was nice hearing you. और मैं दोबारा चाहूंगी कि आपके साथ मैं इस पे पूरा एक detailed conversation करूं on Gandhi. Hopefully soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.